so first thing I want to do, one of the things we do at MAPS a lot is promote, because even though we're a little bunch of bubbas from rural Montana, we're somewhat famous, so this is the way we do it. Okay, and we'll put it on our...
You guys will be on Facebook before the end of this presentation. Peter's
and
pretty
you've
good at
all
this.
signed a release. Thank you very much. There will be no compensation. Our dissertation, if you will, is finding your voice. Finding your voice. Our constituent base are 12 to 18-year-old kids, and I think we need to thank, first and foremost, some adults in Ravalli County who 12 to 17 years ago, probably on a cold winter's night, snuggled up, popped out a kid, and now we got their kids. So, you know, without getting into great detail, you know how that works. Hopefully what we share with you today is relevant, because you all in your companies, in your work, are going to encounter young employees who perhaps have not found their voice. And as we go through, we'll talk about finding your voice, and hopefully perhaps give you even a methodology or a paradigm. FYI, even though we're a very small group, that's our website, which, by the way, was designed. That's Katy Perry, by the way. Katy Perry's a friend of MAPS. We all came, I'm retired, but we all came from Hollywood, and in that experience over the last 40 years, we made a lot of good friends, amongst them Katy Perry, et cetera, et cetera. They're friends of MAPS, and they're our third-party endorsements. So when we get clients, and we'll explain why we have clients, they go, oh, well, if Katy Perry thinks they're cool, or Arnold Kopelson, who did Platoon, or Steve Zalian, who wrote Moneyball, then they must be cool. Smoke and mirrors. Anyway, our site, by the way, last month we got 85,000 hits. It's 2,800 a day. Where people are finding out about us, I don't know. We do not buy Google this or that, but somehow the word has gotten around, probably because of the clients that range from the governor to State Farm Insurance to the Center for Disease Control. So we've built up this thing. Got to thank Hatch. Interestingly, Hatch has a 10-year anniversary next year, so do we. So we will copulate, and out of that union, we will come up with a baby that will now be 10 years old. My background, I was a movie producer. I started as a truck driver. I'm a basically recycled hippie. And it happened that I got a job for a film company and worked my way up through the ranks. And I was mentored every step of the way. So that's why Hatch just rocks. Now, here's a specific instance of mentoring. Nick Andrews, Logan Triplett. 3 years ago, we had an assignment from the governor's office, do a commercial. These two fellas, you want to stand up? Woo! Okay, there you go. These two guys were at MSU Bozeman Film School, and I called Yarrow up. I said, hey, our kids aren't really good at doing green screen yet. They are now. Who do you know? Well, I know these guys. So that was how the relationship grew. They did a killer spot that's on our website. We paid you, how much, 500 bucks?
That might be too much.
Anyway, yeah, it was hundreds of dollars.
Many hundreds.
And we got our money's worth. So that's how that works. So from my background as rank and file, that's how we teach our kids, from the bottom up. What happens is we teach them skills. We then take the best and the brightest, and they join MAPS Productions, and that's our client services business. And what we tell our clients is, if you want to reach a 12 to 18 constituency, if you want the sweet pocket of that, well, why not hire creatives that speak that language? I'm 63. If I try to write anything remotely hip, it's going to suck. Now, Jeremy is our creative director, and let me just brag a little about him. He came aboard when I was just dying. I was burnt out. I hate children. Jeremy's,
except for these two.
Yeah. Jeremy's been at Paramount Pictures for years. He's done Shrek. He's done Iron Man. He's done, you know, Jackass in 3D.
Yes.
Anyway, so he knows how to communicate to that audience from the top down. We do it from the bottom up. So that our kids back there are shooting interviews. I hope Will is not in the room because he's back there shooting his interview. You will see the results of their work. We're not going to take you through the website or show you our work. mapsmediainstitute.com. That's where you go, enjoy, and then I can brag about how many more hits we got. So on that note, you know, we have been invited multiple times to export our program. LA City Unified called and asked me if we wanted to do it in LA. I said, no way. I spent 40 years in LA. There's just no way. The reason we are successful in Montana is because they leave us alone. Thankfully, in Montana, the legislators and the school system, though terrified that a Hollywood pervert could be infiltrating their schools, they let us do it. And here we are 10 years later, and I have not been arrested or sued. So on that note, we have, and if you want to, and I've been asked by some people here, could we start a MAPS in your community? Yeah, we'll help you do it. We're a cookie cutter. We're exportable. We just won't do the physical labor, but we'll teach you how to do it. In terms of what our product does, we can do local, we do statewide, we do national, and again, we'll never outshoot Yarrow or any of the other guys who have high-end commercial companies here. But what we can is out-bullshit you, which is, our creatives are 12 to 18. Can you communicate better than us? There you go. Jeremy.
So we talked about finding your voice. That's really the key. That's the mantra we live by every day. I think it's fun here. This is the first time I've been to a conference where it says mentor instead of Paramount Pictures or some startup I'm involved with or something else. We're here to talk about mentoring today. And I think the proof of what Peter's talking about we'll get to see tomorrow. Tomorrow night the students are going to present a film about the state of creativity, and Hatch is a mentor to them. We're a mentor to them. Anyone here who's being interviewed can give them tips. They're here. They're sponges. They want to learn. They want to find their voice. The Find Your Voice thing came to us a couple years ago when we were trying to sort of systematize what we were doing with the students instead of just, you know, sort of throwing cameras in their hand and letting them run wild, which was pretty fun. We tried to think of how best to bring out the sort of good citizens, good people, the healthy thinking that's inherent in these students, and help you know, do that through filmmaking and self-expression, right? We're in this explosive era of self-expression, and to guide it and make it worthy and make it important and impactful is what we're trying to do. So one of our first realizations was that every one of the students that comes to us from a place where society has sort of worked very hard to homogenize their voice, right? When you're born, you have a unique voice. You know, Peter brings up this analogy all the time of a calf. You know, a calf can be in a herd of cows, and when it moves, its mother knows exactly that voice, right? But then what happens is, in people, is, you know, a child learns from the parent, they learn to speak, they learn the alphabet, they learn to sing, they learn their parent's voice. Then they go off to school, and they try to emulate the popular kids, and they try to emulate pop culture. They try to be more like Katy Perry, and they sort of maybe lose track of what their own voice is. You know, the popular kids sort of, you know, if you're an outsider, maybe that's not good. So we want these students to find their unique voice, and we do that through giving them tools of self-expression through multimedia.
Once we have imposed skills and all that stuff, we know realistically a very low percentage of our graduates will end up in the movie business or design business or any form of entertainment. How many high school basketball players end up in the NBA? So our hidden agenda is to poison their minds with what we hope are valuable life lessons. And basically, so we create communicators, people that, you know, the average kid today texts 3,000 times a month. Now, for an old fart like myself, I'm horrified, and I won't text. The MAPS kids used to text me. I said, don't. I'm not going to say anything to you. So we try to get kids who can be verbal, can get their message across in front of their peers. We encourage them to take risks, Taking a risk is always a scary thing. And one of the life lessons we teach them, and we remind them day in, day out, it only takes one yes to change your life. It only takes one yes to change your life. Therefore, all the no's, who cares? We're always going to hear no. But if you are like into this Don Quixote thing that, oh, I just need a yes, there it is, spinning over there, then that gives them the courage. The other thing we also teach them, who here knows who William Goldman is, screenwriter? Okay, William Goldman wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Princess Bride, The Sting. He wrote a book called Adventures in the Screen Trade, and he is indelibly imprinted in all of our minds for 4 words. No one knows anything. We don't. We do a spot, we don't know. We think, we believe, we hope, we don't know. So we tell our kids, just because Jeremy's done The Avengers, he doesn't know anything. He has got a lot of experience to draw upon. And in that way, that liberates them from being compromised by, I mean, you see our kids. These are very confident young people. And I think if we can create great communicators who are confident, we have done our job.
Our goal when our students leave is that they take this confidence into their lives and that they have strong, individualized and unique voices. We're trying to give them the collaborative tools, the sort of strength of character that when they go out and do anything, as Peter said, they're not all going to be in media creation. They might do some other thing. They might be involved in causes, in sort of mercenary business. They might be educators. Anyone who
interesting conjunction.
Yeah, anyone who's going to go out and succeed in the world needs to be a confident storyteller. When I go into a boardroom and I have to present a campaign, I don't just sort of lay out the research and hope that everyone buys it because of the research. You have to sort of create a compelling narrative about why we're, how we're connecting with customers or filmmakers or whatever the challenge is. So we think that one of the cool things we're doing is not just giving media skills, we're giving confidence. We're making better citizens who feel like their voice will have an impact on the world around them. We're letting them be better people in their interpersonal communications, people who are confident and have unique voices. Their relationships are going to be healthier. As parents, they're going to be better able to mentor their own children. So we think that aside from creating PSAs and teaching media skills, our ultimate goal in helping these young people find their voice is that they're going to go out and help change the world when they grow up and have a little bit of power and say in that world.
In sort of closing, we have a nonprofit that funds this thing. It's named after my mother and dad, who are both deceased. But like many nonprofits, we do not depend on donations to our path to sustainability. So that's why we have clients, because our job is not to write grants 24/7, which thankfully is still my job. But if you have any donation dollars, give it to these people. Sing, Harlem, sing.
Yay.
We're funded. We're good. You want to give us some money? Fine. Sing, Harlem, Sing is a wonderful program in New York and worthy of tax-deductible dollars. The last agenda, as we discussed at Hatch, if you were there, is the Hatch Network. It is crucial that once our kids leave us and they go through college, or Nick and Logan, once a MAPS kid, you're always a MAPS kid. And it is our responsibility to pass the torch. So if Logan needs a hand, or Nick needs a hand, or the kids you're going to meet or have met need a hand, we have the ability to network them to someone who can facilitate, so that when they get in the real world, they need a job. It happened last night at dinner. Where's Fairbanks? Okay, there's a guy from Fairbanks. We were having dinner with him last night. We remembered that you were from Fairbanks, right? There you go. So it just happened, Fairbanks, we introduced them just as shit howdy, and boom, there might be a connection, there might be a hookup. So I think as us who are in the fourth quarter of their lives, there can be
third quarter.
Third quarter. Yeah, he's in his 40s, I'm in my 60s. That's all right. You know, for us, you know, I think just generically, I think Tim Daly said it. Tim, are you here? Tim said something very important. That is, you know, a lot of us are successful, and anything we can do to lift up and help, especially Montana kids, but all kids, is a worthy enterprise. You have a closing thought?
That's it. I think
Thank
it's
you.
great. Thanks for having us.
What's next, Yarrow?
I have one. Right here, sorry. I know I'm short.
Yeah.
So I did an interview yesterday
Yeah.
with your kids, and I was very touched because one of the questions they asked me was about creativity in schools and how important did I think it was. And I relayed my story with how I felt in our current education system. I felt stupid. I felt dumb. I didn't think I could go to college. I relayed that story at the end. I think it was Bonnie.
Right.
Came up to me and she said, you know, I was teetering on whether I should go to school, college, for graphic design or not. But what you just said, I need to go. I went, yes, you need to go.
There you go.
Oh my God. Do you have any metrics of, do you know where your kids go, like where they
No,
go?
we only know when they screw up. No. Oh, I would say 90%. There's some of them. Most recently, a MAPS graduate who we later hired as a teacher said, "I don't want to go to college," and I thought, "Okay, that's fine." I dropped out of college in 1967, so college was not my trip. So I called his dad. I said, "Luke, his name, doesn't want to go to college. Is that cool with you?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And so we hired him. And then Jeremy and I just introduced him to a trailer company in L.A. And he got a job. He just wanted to go right into the soup. You know, most of our kids go to college.
And also, I think one of the great things is, you know, if we really are going to value the uniqueness that we're trying to bring out in these students, we have to value the different channels they're going to follow. So the example of Luke, or, you know, we have some students who are here in Bozeman doing film school. Some of the kids you met, it's once you put the pen in their hand and they stand in front of the board and they lead their fellow students in brainstorming. It's like, you know, what they do next, whether it's college or anything. I feel like you know, that's up to them, and I support their decisions. You know, Luke did not go to school. He was actually really ready to jump into the editor's seat in Los Angeles, and I check in with him. I check in with his bosses from time to time. He's productive. He may go back and get further studies, but he's already out there. He's already like sort of living his dream. That's his dream. And you know, it's a little self-selecting because obviously kids that are willing to come after school and sit around with the instructors, you know, when everyone else is out, you know, playing sports or smoking behind the building or whatever they're doing after school. These are kids who are driven to find some way to sort of improve their lives and get extra tools. And I think, you know, almost all of them are greatly successful in some way that's meaningful to them.
One of the life lessons we do encourage, like one yes and no one knows anything, is he or she who works the hardest will succeed. Our assumption is that no one is, with few exceptions, and I've worked with a few geniuses, but there's not many, the one who will outwork you is the one who will get ahead. So in Luke, and most Montana kids have amazing work ethics. So I remember yesterday someone was saying about nose to the grindstone and free time. No, it's a 24/7 job. If you are willing to accept that, that's what it is. And then when you're done with the job, then you chill. But I don't know that you can compartmentalize it like that, not in the business that I came up with. So Luke, he routinely works till 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, he's 22 years old and he can hang. Anything? Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks.